Welcome to my little RCM show. Maersk Line has, as of 1st of September last year, launched a program or a system where our customers can monitor the interior conditions of a container, giving them a lot of possibilities to monitor their cargo, but also to take future decisions on what to do with the cargo. For more than 40 years, transporting in reefer containers has been a challenge to customers. You never knew if your product arrived safely before the minute you opened the door. And surprise, surprise, it would be good usually, but there were also cases where you open the door and what you find is a total loss. This is, of course, not just a claim situation with money, etc. involved. It puts our customers in a situation where they cannot fulfill their obligations towards their customers. We have eliminated this issue now, because if we have a container that malfunctions, which does happen, unfortunately, we are giving the customer the possibility to at least to know in advance, my product is not going to arrive safely, but I know I have a customer who demands that he has pineapples and bananas on the shelves next week. The customer can then look at alternative ways to supply from other sources. It could be fruit on its way to Europe for sale, or he can buy in the market locally, but at all times fulfill obligations towards his customer. So how did we make this little system? Well, basically, on all our ships, we built our own little telephone system, standard ordinary GSM system. We fitted a system, and inside the units, we placed a little component which we call the RCD. The RCD contains a GPS unit, a GSM antenna, and it contains a SIM card identical with your phone. So what is happening is that all the reefer containers are transmitting live via the SIM card, via this GSM system that transfers all information to a server, and off it goes via satellite. Everybody who's attached to RCM, it could be customers, my colleagues, it could be terminals, vendors who repair units or vessels, are able to all time monitor if our units are working or not working correctly. The issue with having your own little GSM system on board is that when you enter into a national country like UK or like Europe, you can't just enter and say, hello, here we are, we have a brand new system. So what we do is 15 nautical miles before we hit shore, we simply shut down the system, but then the SIM cards pick up the local networks and keep on transmitting continuously. So basically we have even better coverage when units are close to shoreline. There are limitations with RCM. If we are speaking a Maersk Line pure transit or Seago Line, South Marine, Hamburg Süd, you will have continuous information from the moment you switch on the unit until it reaches your customer, their customer, and returns safely back to our depots. RCM cannot distinguish whether it's our custody or the customer's custody. It simply starts transmitting the moment the unit is switched on. We do have agreements with other shipping lines. We have vessel share agreements where our units go with other shipping lines. So unfortunately, we do have breaks in this continuous information flow. I'll just jump a picture here. If we can imagine that a vessel goes from Rotterdam via the Mediterranean to Far East. If it's on a Maersk Line vessel, we will transmit via satellite continuously. But if it goes on a vessel share agreement, well, when we reach the Biscay, there won't be any information. However, the moment we hit Cape Finisterre, then we get all the information, so we get it in batches. The most important thing is that our customers will always have a full journey analysis before the unit arrives at destination, because all the last batches come via the telephone system, local telephone networks. There are some very good live examples I'd like to illustrate here. What it means, I'll take a Dutch customer I know. They have to barge their units from south of Holland to Maasvlakte, the big container terminal. They've always asked the barge captains to turn the reefers on, keep them live. They could never monitor whether this was being done or not. But the moment they switch on these units at their facility, they can see whether they are powered on or powered off on the barges en route to Maasvlakte. Another good example, live example, is from Ireland. A customer ships off a unit of frozen fish via Rotterdam down to Saudi Arabia. When this unit with frozen fish arrives in Saudi Arabia, their customer rejects the cargo saying poor temperature management. Now, with RCM, our customer could immediately see that the cold chain had been maintained all the way to Jeddah. However, their customer chose to drive the unit for 36 hours inland in Saudi Arabia. So our customer could say, no, sorry friend, we delivered a perfect product, so you cannot reject and just run away. So what do we give the customers? Well, management in Maersk Line chose to have two versions. There's a basic tier where we give you basically 95% of all the information going on inside the unit. Give you a premium tier where you also have the technical information on how the unit operated for each and every component there is. The basic tier will give you an overview, immediate overview of all your units connected to a booking. It will display the temperatures. It will display carbon dioxide and oxygen levels if we're talking controlled atmosphere. It will also show you the outdoor temperature and the humidity inside the unit. Due to the GPS, you can always locate your units, where they are in the world. And that is actually a very nice function for sometimes. We had a unit that was taken away from us with chocolates. And we could phone the police, follow the unit on the road, and simply ask them, can you please stop this container, and ask them to turn around and come back with our unit. And that was good. At the end of every voyage, before our customers deliver to their customers, they will have a full journey assessment. They will have the temperature from the complete voyage. They will know which vessel it went with. They'll know which ports it was transshipped in. It is the full information that they can use before handing out. We also chose in the basic free version that we will send out notifications to the customer, provided something is going wrong. We have 3 types of notifications that we send out to customers. I will highlight them in a minute. As I said, this version comes for free. And people ask, okay, Peter, who has access to this information? We only give this to the contractual customers. And this is a confidentiality agreement we have with our customers. We don't want supermarkets phoning us saying, can we please see the RCM data loggers? We'd like to see what our supplier is doing. We keep that strictly between us and our customer. However, the customer, it's his information. He or she can choose whoever they want to share the information with. Once it's in their hands, it's their property. If they buy the full data logger, they can use this for sharing with insurance companies, surveyors, etc. It's their property. This is just a display of showing what the GPS does, where it's shipped, transshipped, and where it will end up. It's more nice to see than need to see. So what are we telling the customer if something goes wrong? Of course, we have used this system internally also to ensure that we also maintain the units at a satisfactory level. But if something is going wrong, then we do send out a notification. RCM can define what kind of cargo we are loading. If we are loading pre-cooled cargo, which typically would be products like frozen shrimp, ice cream, etc., etc. Or if it's hot stuffed, meaning that customer is loading something like frozen fish and not giving us at the carriage temperature. We call that hot stuff cargo. And then we have an industry standard called ambient stuff cargo, which typically is like bananas loaded at 29 degrees, melons at 34, 36 degrees, citrus is loaded ambient also, and a lot of vegetables. We also tell the customer if there's something wrong with the temperature, if we have deviations that are more than plus minus 2 degrees from the setting, then we notify customer and say something is wrong inside. And then we have the really tough one. If our units are not powered on, we also tell the customer. There's no hidden agenda here. We give the customer all the information, also the information that's not necessarily nice to share. But it is the truth and nothing but the truth. At the moment, I live in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and we have at this stage 88,000 FFE annually connected just in this small country to RCM. And it is a good product and customers are very happy for it. So, customer can at all times go in and see the actual temperature, how it's going on. He can also choose to let it be a sleeping tool and simply just analyze graphs when he gets a notification or she gets a notification. All-time live information. Now, how this works, if you want to hear a little more detail about it, you are welcome to visit booth 125, where I will be also for the next, 1 hour or more. Please join me if you need to have a detailed version, and I'll give you my email where you can also, I'll give you extra additional information. I can also share a presentation with you about RCM that you are welcome to use at your facility, your company. Questions?
Has anybody got any questions? Here we go.
Alex von Stempel, Cool Logistics. Peter, a question. Everyone's been talking about blockchain, and I was wondering to what extent the RCM technology could be integrated into the blockchain technology, or are these completely separate? Reason why I'm asking is because of this seems to be a new transparency tool that blockchain is also supposed to be able to provide. So I'm seeing, is it just a different way, or is it something that could actually come together at some stage?
It will come together at some stage. At the moment, it's a standalone tool. It's not connected to other systems. But as I usually inform customers of, RCM is a young child that still needs to be raised, and we are constantly improving it. We have a lot of people working on it. We are waiting for customer, or we are at the moment receiving customers' feedback, what they want changed and so on. And very shortly, in a few months this year, we are going to launch RCM 2.0, which will have considerable amounts of improvements. Yes, but we do also have customers say we would like to integrate it into our transport systems so we could also connect it, but that is future speaking.
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
About power-offs.
Yes.
The situation is that we know that in some cases container ships aren't always on time. They arrive in ports, sometimes there's congestion in ports, and before they can actually dock, there's a situation where the power of the ship is switched off. And there's a time during which there is no power to the container, to the reefer container, as it arrives in port. A, is this true? And B, how significant is this?
It is true. We do have short-term charter vessels where we see they disconnect the reefers because they need the electricity for the bow and stern thrusters, maneuvering through the Panama Canal, for example, or as you say, maneuvering into a port. It is not connected to any of our vessels. We have, during the last 8 years, we have improved on energy saving programs, meaning that we have overcapacity of electricity on our vessels, so we can maneuver and maintain reefer containers at the same time. The standing rules for our ships and our long-term charter vessels is that units are not allowed to be disconnected until they receive confirmation from the port captain what the crane sequence will be. We do not allow for off-power periods of more than 6 hours. For special cargo, only 1 hour. That could be cold treatment, expensive products, etc., etc. Unfortunately, off-power is part of our life. We do see off-power periods that are totally unsatisfactory. That can be in terminals. It's seldom on board the vessels because they connect and disconnect. But we see issues globally where terminals not necessarily connect in time. Customers do get frustrated when they say, "But Peter, look at this. This container's been off power for 8 to 10 hours." Yes, I say that, but that is reality. That's what we are showing you. We can fight and struggle, but this will be a constant problem in many countries going forward. But we just chose to show you this is reality. But typically, we are not talking cargo deterioration of the quality deterioration. But units off power 2 days, yes, I've seen that also. We tell the customer, you better be ready. I don't believe this cargo is going to arrive safely.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Cool. But thanks for joining. Pleasure to see you all. And as I said, I'll be at stand 125 if you need any further. Have a nice day here at London Food.
Thanks very much, Peter. Thank you.